This is Rich, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to install the CRYENGINE Game Starter-Kit, the blank slate starter kit that I have created. Starting now and to the future, there's going to be a big effort to create starter kit, complete game starter kits for the CRYENGINE, targeting the EaaS builds. Although currently non-EaaS builds are still supported and they'll follow the same process as in the tutorial. Basically, it's an initiative by me and hopefully in the future for others to contribute, maybe even pay or sell their starter kits with everybody else, so that it would help out the community with creating amazing games quickly. So today is a tutorial. I'm going to teach you how to install the first starter kit release, which is being released today, an alpha version. So all of you who used it, please let me know of any bugs so I can fix them right away. It's being released for free, and so here we go. I'm using the CRYENGINE EaaS builds, although you can use CRYENGINE 3.5.8. Prior versions may work, but it is tested with 3.5.8 as well. That works. I'm also using Visual Studio 2013 Express. I do have the ultimate versions of 2012 and 13, but I'm using the Express version to show you, because most likely that's what you guys will be using. The installer and the templates support Visual Studio 2012, 2013, 2012 Express, 2013 Express. So here we go. The first thing you need to do is, if you have the EaaS build, is extract your code folder. If you have the 3.5.8, your code folder should already be extracted. But we can do this by going to the root directory of your CRYENGINE build and right-clicking on your code, zip file, and just extracting. After that, you should have a code folder. I got Hendrix plugin SDK installed, but I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I got a nice little feature integrated into the starter kit. Once we've done that, we'll just go ahead and close it. We'll just need this installer. Let's go ahead, double click. CRYENGINE Game Starter-Kit blank installer. And here we go. It's the CRYENGINE Game Starter-Kit. I'll look at the spelling error there. Blank tells you which starter kit you have. So this will be the same installer, but for different starter kits. And we have a couple of options. First, you got to tell it which Visual Studio solutions you want to support. I want 2012, 2013, and we'll do the Express because we're going to be using Express in this tutorial. Now, in case you don't know what a starter kit is, basically it's a template for code and content. So basically, you download these templates, install them, and you're ready to go. You'd have all the starter content that you would need for a game, all the code implemented that you needed for that game as well, for a nice little starter kit. Now, this is blank, meaning there's no FPS code. People have been asking for this for a very long time. So there's no FPS code, there's no starter content, there's no textures, none of that. Everything is complete scratch. So if you want to create a game from scratch without all of that bloat from the game DLL and you just want a nice clean slate, this is for you. Next, we need to tell it where the CRYENGINE code folder is. This is very important because it tells it basically which CRYENGINE version you're using. So we're going to be using this template with the EaaS build, but you would choose 3.5.8 if you're doing prior. So let's go ahead and do that. Code, beautiful. Click OK. Now all we've got to do is hit this install and wait for it to do its magic. Beautiful. Got a successful message here. And then telling us that the installation is complete. We're all done. That's it. So now let's go to the Visual Studio part of things. Let's open up the Visual Studio 2012 Express. And now we'll go to the new project. Okay, beautiful. Now that we're here, we'll go to the Visual C++ category, go to the CRYENGINE category. This should be new. And now we have the CRYENGINE Game Starter-Kit blank. I'll read the description here. A complete blank CRYENGINE Game Starter-Kit. If you're looking for a blank slate with only the absolute essentials implemented, then this is the starter kit for you. Let's go ahead and name our project. This is just going to be the name of the solution file that gets generated. It has nothing to do with really what your game will be called. That'll be the next window. So we'll just call this test, okay? And we're going to store it anywhere we want. Now we can have a directory for solution enabled. I like to have it off, but you can have it either way. So we'll just have the test and we'll put it into the, well, let's go ahead and put it on the desktop. How about that? There we go. And click OK. And now the CRYENGINE project wizard, creation wizard pops up, and there's only a couple options here. So first is our project name. This will also be the game DLL name that gets generated. So when you compile, it'll be the DLL name. And also, in your source code, this will be replaced with some of the class names. So if you want the game class, it would be your project name game. Okay, classes. So this is just your project name. We're going to call it test project, and we'll take a look at the source code after, so I can show you how well documented it is. So test project here, we're going to call it. No spaces. It has to be alphanumeric. It can't start with a number. So basically, it's any class name in code, if you're familiar with coding, which you should be if you're watching this tutorial, is not allowed. So it has to be a valid code class name. All right, now we have an option here. Include the plugin SDK. So this is a wonderful thing. So you have a blank starter kit, and wonderful Hendrik here, my friend, suggests that I add in the plugin SDK with the checkbox. So I have. Basically, if you do not check the include plugin SDK, there'll be no integration with the plugin SDK at all. I mean, you could manually integrate it yourself, but having this checkbox checked will automatically integrate the plugin SDK. Beautiful. So we're going to have that. We're going to include the plugin SDK to add plugin support. And set as active game, I highly recommend you set this as well. Basically what this does is will automatically tell CRYENGINE to use your game DLL in your custom game folder for your content. You can set this manually later with the system.config file, but I highly recommend that you check this as well. Now keep in mind, checking the set as active will delete the current system.config file in your CRYENGINE root directory, and also if you have a current plugin SDK, including the plugin SDK, will delete the current one as well. It should be fine, it's no big deal, but I do recommend having these set for a completely automatic setup. We'll have a test project description here. In some code elements, like some of the functions that you get the description of the game, it will return this text here. We're going to call it a test CRYENGINE game. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and click create. Give it a few seconds here. And now we're all set to go. Believe it or not, that's how amazingly beautiful the templates are. Another cool thing about a template is that you can have an unlimited amount of them installed. So you can have 3 different templates installed at the same time without messing up your original CRYENGINE installation. Absolutely beautiful. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead over some code files, basically showcasing how documented these are. So a lot of things with CRYENGINE here, people complaining about documentation. And a lot of that has to do with the sheer amount of code that is in the game DLL, the default FPS game DLL. There's a lot of things implemented in there, a lot of things going around. It is very, very, very overwhelming and confusing to new users, even experienced users. And that's a lot of concern for people, is that they really don't know where to start. There's so much code. Well, this is the cool thing about the blank slate template that we're looking at here, is that everything is stripped completely. And I've made a couple of starter classes that are the absolute essential to get you started with the CRYENGINE game. So we're going to go over some of these classes, and every single class, every single function, every single interface, every single member variable, okay, is documented by me 100%. So it's absolutely well documented, so you'll be able to find your way, and it's implemented. So let's go ahead and take a look at this documentation. First, let's go over some of the classes here. Let's go from the top to bottom. Let's go ahead and expand this window here. What we have is a C window event system. We have the I window event system .h, and then we have the the implementation, which is C window event system and C window event system CPP. Basically what this is it catches the Windows events. So any Windows program, you should know, has a Windows procedure that catches these events and dispatches it. So I've implemented this interface with this system to catch these Windows events and dispatch throughout all CRYENGINE systems. So you can get notification like window closing, mouse moving, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and open up the interface for that, the iWindow event system, and take a look. As you can see, we got nice XML comments here. Every interface, as you can see, you can take a look. iWindow event listener here. Now, you can add anything you want to this class. That's not an issue. This is just a starting point, again, that I've implemented for you. Basically, these are the on-close, on-mouse activate, and I've got a detailed description for every single function. The entire API is documented like this, actually. And that's how future templates will be documented as well. I also give you links to the MSDN descriptions in every one. So we'll just keep scrolling on down. As you can see, more functions on car, on IME, mouse clicking, mouse moving, mouse wheels, window sizing. Beautiful. Now we have the iWindow event system, which is the actual system that catches these events and dispatches it to all the listeners. So basically, you can derive from the iWindow event listener up here and get notifications about all of these events, and that's all dispatched by the iWindow event system. We have the on event, which happens whenever an event occurs, and that's where it dispatches to the iWindow listeners. This is where you register and unregister listeners. Beautiful. All right, let's go down next here. Next, we have the editor game. Oops, we'll get rid of the CPP files. The editor game here is the interface that's used to interact with the editor, the CRYENGINE Sandbox editor. So you have your game class, which controls how your game works, and then you have the editor. And in order for those to interact, you need to create an interface called C editor game that derives from the iEditor game. As you can see, every single method is well documented. Every parameter and every function is well documented, so you get some nice IntelliSense support. Again, I'm just going over these to show you how well documented these are. I would advise you to take a heavy look at all these header files to understand how a CRYENGINE game works from start to end. Next, we have the G2 flow-based node, which is basically an automated way to register new flow nodes that you create. I'm not going to go too deep into this. This is actually a file I pulled from the CRYENGINE game implementation. It's the only file that I did not write myself. We have the player class. Every CRYENGINE game needs a player class or a client actor class. And so I've implemented a basic player. Now, I didn't implement movement, anything like that, because that's for you. This is why it's a blank slate. It does have a default camera implemented, and it has a player that you can spawn into the game. So that's all I've implemented, but that is there for you. The player class explains what it does, what it's responsible for. And again, every function, every parameter, every member variable completely commented in high detail all the way down. Beautiful. Project defines.h, basically you put all of your project defines in here. That way you can have stuff like game exporting and globalized defines. All right, here we have the test project game. As you notice, these were kind of replaced. So your project name is test project, so you can see the files are actually named based on what you tell for a project, and so are the classes. So you can see why there's not allowed to have weird names with special characters and stuff like that. So the project game is the game implementation. So it's the absolute essentials needed to implement a CRYENGINE game. It's a game loop that has the ability to do anything you choose to. But it's a running game loop, and it's all implemented. Again, every single function and every single member variable is very well commented. We have the game rules interface here. Basically, this decides of how your game works, the win conditions. It's a hub that controls the flow of information between your game and the rest of CRYENGINE systems. So it's a communication layer. And it also is in charge of a lot of networking things like syncing game state between clients. That's all implemented. Every single function, every single member is well commented. We have a test project module, which actually has nothing to do with CryEngine. It's something that I created along with the iWindow event system. Now, this is a pretty cool technique. It's a very well, it's a design pattern that I actually use in my personal life and a lot of my personal projects. I love it. Basically, this is your module that you can access anything in your game project. So this is a test project that we've had here, and any sort of system or manager that you create can be accessible through this one global test project module class. As you can see here, we get the iWindow event system, and we have the get system global environment. If you guys are familiar with the genv global variable that CryEngine has that gives you access to all of CryEngine systems, well, I wrap that here. So you can use this class to get every single system in CryEngine and every single custom system you create. And one of them is already implemented, get iWindow event system. And as you can see here, I make a global variable, g_p test project module. And using this global variable, you can get access to every part of CryEngine in your own custom systems. Use that a lot. Again, everything's commented. Last but not least is the project startup, your game startup. Now, this is responsible for starting up your game. When you launch either the CryEngine editor or the CryEngine launcher, the launcher and editor load this game DLL that you've created, this test.dll, and it automatically creates an instance of the game startup class. That way it kicks off your entire DLL and gets everything flowing. It creates your game, it creates the game framework and all that. So it's very, very essential. Again, it's commented, every single function, every single member. Absolutely wonderful. Now, that was just a quick overview of all the classes, and basically that was meant to show you how well documented this are so you won't get lost. I'm very proud of this. I think you guys will love this very well, and more templates will be available in the future. Now let's actually get to test it. Very simple. Let's go ahead and switch to the 64-bit. I mean, you can compile with 32-bit. That's no problem at all. But we're going to do the 64-bit so I can load up the editor. We're just going to build. There's no need to worry about which folder it's building to, this and that. Again, my installer and the template wizard took care of that. Just got to build and you can run it and it will work. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and that compiled a lot faster as well. All right, so what we're going to do here is right click, go to project, and tell it what to load. We're going to tell it to load the editor. So we're going to browse. We're going into the CryEngine, bin64, and let's load this editor. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and click play. Now, I would highly, highly advise you take a look at these source files, look over all of the comments so you get a nice idea of how a CryEngine game is started and run from scratch. A project manager is in the process of being created. It's going to be a one-stop shop program that allows users to upload and sell their own starter kits and also sync starter kits to your computer and install them. It's going to be like an application that manages all these project templates so you can install them, delete them, upload them, download them, and a very big sharing community. That's the end goal. Not nearly close to that yet, but that is in the in the works, in the movement. That's the end goal. All right, so beautiful. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're going to create a new level, and we're just going to set it at the smallest available here, and we're just going to call this test, and click OK. And we're going to go to 512, high quality. Click OK, and beautiful. Nice. Everything's all beautiful. Everything's working. Let's go ahead and look around. Beautiful. If we move up here, we should get the land, the terrain. And there's no textures, so we're left with the replace me. That's there. But here you go. Here's your level. Let's go ahead and push File, Save. Another cool feature here is go ahead and click Control G to jump in game. Beautiful. We're in game. Look at the top left-hand corner of the viewport. Test project is running. I thought that was pretty cool to have that there so that you actually know your game is running. So test project is running. Let's go ahead and hit escape and out. I mean, you can jump in and out, very fast. Control G. See? Escape. So everything's fine. I want to show you something though, how quick it loads without all that game DLL bloat. Let's go ahead and load this again since we have a level created. And now we have a level created. Watch how fast this loads. Ready? So we're going to click. Ready? 1, 2, 3, click. Beautiful. All right, so thank you guys very much. I really do hope you enjoy. I think this is exactly what the community needs. Exactly. I think a lot of people are going to love this. It's going to help everybody out. It's going to be released on the CRYENGINE forums. This video will be available on the CRYENGINE forums as well. So if you're watching it from YouTube, it's actually going to be available on the CRYENGINE forums as well. Eventually, it will be uploaded to my website, the company website. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you catch any bugs, please, please, please let me know. If you have any suggestions upon this blank slate that I could add for functionality, if you have any other templates you would like me to create, let me know. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon.